Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Wyld. Today we are talking about how to classify drives in MileIQ for taxes and business. When you're juggling deliveries, client meetings, or just trying to keep your records straight, it's easy to lose track of which drives count as business and which ones don't. That's where MileIQ makes life easier. The app automatically tracks your drives and lets you classify them with just a swipe. So you could hand clean reports to your CPA and tax professional at the end of the year. So in this video, we are talking about how to classify drives in MileIQ, some of the best practices to help you save time and stress and everything in between. But before we do that, let's go over a quick disclaimer. The content of this video does not contain, is never intended to be, legal, business, financial, tax, or health advice of any kind. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is advised that you conduct your own research and consult qualified professionals before applying anything you find online. I also want to be clear that everything that we're going to be going over is very market to market and case by case. What applies to me in my market may not apply to you. Also, if you guys haven't downloaded the #1 mileage tracking app in the App Store and Google Play, check the link in the description to download MileIQ and get started. Understanding MileIQ's built-in classifications. MileIQ comes with 5 classification types that align with IRS rules. There's business, personal, medical, charity, and commute. Business are deductible trips that you take for work. Personal are non-deductible trips like going to a grocery store or picking up a friend or family member. Medical is deductible at the IRS medical mileage rate, often for like doctor visits or visits to the hospital for whatever reason. Charity, again, is IRS deductible but under the IRS charity rate. So if you're volunteering at an event, you can actually deduct for that. And commute is trips between your home and your regular workplace. Commuting miles are not deductible. For gig workers, this isn't really relevant unless you're running a hybrid model with your normal job. These categories alone cover everything the IRS cares about when it comes to mileage, and each has their own rates to being able to write off your miles. How to classify drives in MileIQ. The beauty of MileIQ is actually in its simplicity. Once your trips are locked, you can classify them quickly. Open your app, go to your drives list, swipe right to classify as business, swipe left to classify as personal. Tap on the drive itself to add notes to it if you have to, right? Client meeting or delivery, etc. And you could also use the bulk edit feature if you need to classify multiple drives at once. And sometimes if you take the same drive over and over again for business purposes or personal purposes, it'll auto-classify that drive for you. That's it. The more consistently you classify, the easier it is to export a clean report later, and the more automated the process becomes. Best practices for classifying drives. Now, there are some practices for classifying that I do think need to be taken seriously. Number 1, do it regularly. Don't wait until the end of the year. Don't run behind on months of classification. I've done that. It's hard to discern after a while. Do it on a regular basis, whether it's daily or weekly. You don't want to forget certain trip details, especially if you're doing more than one type of work. For gig workers, this could be done during your wait times between or during deliveries, or after getting back from a hard day's work. Add notes. The IRS loves details. Your CPA will love details too. A quick note on who, what, why can save you a lot of trouble in an audit. If there's only one reason you need to classify your drives, you can give them a category as well, such as courier or delivery. But at the end of the day, it's still business miles. Be consistent. If you always classify deliveries as business, do it the same way every time. Figure out a system that works for you and stick with it. If you have multiple reasons why you would drive for work, make sure to make notes on it. Like, you normally do deliveries throughout the day, but you started taking on client meetings, so you gotta separate those for business purposes. Watch your commutes. Remember, home to work doesn't count as business miles, and vice versa. There are exceptions to the rule if you have a home office, but make sure you're discussing that with your tax professional to make sure you're actually classifying that properly. Also, if you're on the free plan with MileIQ, you can only classify up to the first 40 drives a month because they just stop tracking you. And if you're a gig worker, you could blow through that in like a week tops. So if you want to keep your mileage tracking consistent and effective for tax purposes and your tax professional, make sure to upgrade your account to get started on saving on your mileage tracking today. Categories versus classifications, what's the difference? This is where a lot of people sometimes get confused. Classifying a drive is the IRS approved bucket your trip belongs in. This is personal, business, medical, charity, and commute. There's only really 5. Categories give you extra labels to create your own insights, such as courier or in-person sales or client meetings. I've made a video about this specifically. I will leave that in the description. Feel free to check that out. Here's the catch though. Many CPAs prefer you just stick with the business classification because that's what ultimately matters for your taxes. So if you create multiple business categories, your accountant may just roll them back into one line item anyway. That said, the categories can still help you as somebody who's in business for themselves, letting you analyze your driving and understanding what's actually making the most money for your miles. Like which one of these apps are really maximizing your time, energy, and money. In other words, this is just as much for you as a gig worker as it is for your tax professional. Why proper classification helps your CPA. When you classify your trips correctly, you're making your bookkeeper or CPA's life so much easier. They can trust your reports without needing to recheck every trip, maximize your deductions by knowing exactly what qualifies, and reduce the audit risk with clean and consistent records. It's a synergistic workflow. You keep everything neat in MileIQ, and they can handle the tax side without any headache. Classifying your drives in MileIQ is one of the simplest things you can do to stay tax ready all year round. Stick with the 5 built-in classifications for IRS compliance. If you want insight into your business, experiment with custom categories. And at the end of the day, the goal is simple. Keep your logs accurate, keep your tax professional happy, and keep more of your money at tax time. Also, if you're looking for a qualified tax professional that can help you at an affordable rate, GigTax is here to help. As a gig worker or anybody who's self-employed, your time is too valuable to waste on tax prep. Get your taxes done fast with the #1 online tax preparation service designed to maximize your tax savings and save you time, energy, and money. GigTax was founded by Joseph Mayo, a seasoned gig worker with over 7,000 deliveries across 7 platforms since 2020. And they understand the challenges of gig workers, freelancers, rideshare drivers, couriers, online sellers, gig workers of all kinds. Enjoy exclusive perks such as electronic and state filing, secure portal access, year-round support from dedicated tax pros, and audit protection, all included when filing with GigTax. Book your free strategy session with GigTax at drewwild.com/GigTax to simplify and save, whether you're a gig worker looking to make some extra money or becoming a successful entrepreneur leading an incredible lifestyle. Get started on saving the money you make and saving even more along the way. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you like, subscribe. Also, if you would like to learn more about some of the services and gig platforms that we have talked about in the past and are offering to gig workers today, check out my website, drivenwild.com. Also, if you want to stay on the cutting edge of what's happening in the gig economy today and be in the know of what most people are talking about, make sure to check out our new channel, Get Gone Wild Live Clips and Podcasts, where we take the live streams we hold at Thursdays at 9 and cut them down to more digestible clips and then post them there. Also, if you want more exclusive clips, full live stream replays, and other membership perks, you can check out my Patreon for self-employed individuals who want to grow and scale their business. Once again, thank you guys so much